What is news and what is not news, folks? I want to walk you through. If you've been with this channel for a while, you've probably kind of picked up by osmosis kind of what I think is news and what is not news. But I'm going to walk you through rather explicitly. And this is relevant because we have the website now and we have where I'm curating news articles and stuff like that. But I'm also kind of finding that my understanding of news does not jive with a lot of conservative and a lot of libertarian kind of mindset of news. And I believe that, well, a lot of that just annoys me, and maybe it annoys you too. So when it comes to the Poplar Report website, I want to give you an idea of what you're in for if you start following that website to kind of get your daily dose of reading news, and also what you're going to continue to get here at this channel. Just a couple articles here that have come up in just the last couple hours here, and just want to read these to you real fast and see if news or not news. ABC anchor fired because they insulted their co-anchor on air. One, nobody watches ABC News anyway. And two, how is that relevant to anything? How's that relevant to you? How's that relevant to me? I don't know. I don't care. We're going to start repeating this phrase a lot. That just sounds a whole heck of a lot like gossip to me, and I don't like it. Switzerland, they spent $18 million for a blueprint for sustainable living. They're supposed to eat less meat and they're supposed to have less living space. Is this even going to be implemented over there? Almost certainly not. So if you're not paying for it, if you're not Swiss taxpayer, how is this relevant to you? That's my thought on it. I won't report on it. Lauren Boebert files for divorce. This is personal. Unless you know the family, unless she's up for re-election, maybe in the re-election thing, maybe this would be mentioned as a character thing or something like that. But even there, I mean, unless you want to sift through all the gory details, and if you do, what's wrong with you? But two, just kind of like, if you're not going to do that, then like, what does this even mean? Do you even know who's at fault? Is there anyone? I don't know. I couldn't care less. Now, if I was in her district and I had to decide whether to re-elect her or whatever, okay, maybe this would be partially relevant to the decision. Of course, who she's running against is going to be pretty relevant too. So I don't see that as being national news. I don't see that as being international news for sure. Things that are just downright scandalous. I don't, unless they have an impact on the world. If it's just like, ooh, yeah, check that out, that's just crazy over there. I don't do that on this channel, and I won't do it on the website. Hit that thumbs up if you guys are agreeing with me, and let me know down in the comments section if you're agreeing with some of this stuff. Gotcha politics. Where they're kind of doing this kind of, you said this yesterday, but now you're driving around on a limo. Haha. It's just cheap, and it's just, I mean, if someone's like absolutely being like an absolute hypocrite based on kind of what they said, I mean, I don't think it's a news story. I think that it may get wrapped up whenever they start saying stuff that's going to impact other people. If they're going to push a policy, I think that it's appropriate at that point to kind of be like, why have you been flying around everywhere on your personal jet if you're going to ban other people from, mowing their grass because of climate stuff, right? I think it's relevant at that point as a piece of the pie. I don't think it's a standalone story. Oh, so-and-so did this. Oh, ha, ha, ha. I don't. Gotcha politics. And you get all these stories where people are like, oh, well, 2 years ago when you were in the majority of Congress, you said this, but now that you're in the minority of Congress, you said this. Well, yeah, I mean, politicians are being politicians and they're flip-flopping, and of course it makes all the difference in the world whether they're in power or not. I think that does reflect on their character, of course. I don't think I don't think a steady stream of these gotcha, hey, there's a politician being a politician again. I think that anytime politicians come up, and these people particularly come up, I think that all those moments of hypocrisy should be kind of pointed out. If there's any question whatsoever that people are actually going to trust them, right? But cool quips. I've been conservative, and a lot of the media I consume is kind of bends conservative. But, if Ben Shapiro comes out and, says a zinger, but it's not actually in a debate where it has any meaningful impact on things, I don't see zingers as news stories. Now, I may throw a zinger in here or there as comedic relief or something like that along the way, but I don't see it as a news story. If it's part of a legitimate debate, that's one thing. If it's just a commercial soundbite, that's a whole nother thing. And we get people in Congress doing that too, where they stand up and make some noise or whatever like that, and we're like, oh. But are they actually like legitimately fighting or resisting, or are they going to vote for that bill secretly anyway, or are they having lunch with all the people voting for that bill anyway, and they're just kind of controlled opposition? If that's the case, then those are just talking points, and that's definitely not a news story. And is it even something to be thrown in with other stuff? I don't know. Events that don't have like lingering effects. So like if a bunch of people perish in a fire down in, say, Louisiana or something like that, if there's not going to be like policy changes, if you're not related, if you don't know who the family is, if like, I can understand how that might be on the local news and stuff like that, but if it's not impacting people, I just don't think all this negativity and toxicity that is completely unrelated to our lives is really useful. I think it's actually quite negative. And so you'll notice that all the stuff that I bring up on this channel, I try to make a case for you how this may impact your life. I also don't think rehashing old news is news. Stuff that happened a long time ago and that doesn't necessarily have an impact on today, I don't think that's a news story. I think that there needs to be context. If this food plant burned down, the plant that burned down last week and the month before and that kind of stuff, context is important, right? I think that it can be part of a news story, old news kind of come up, but a lot of things that come out on the news are just like that. So what do I think is news? As you know, I think that food supply chain things are very vitally important. I think this is extremely important. So what's happening on the farms, what's happening with the harvests. I know you guys a lot of times don't like me geeking out about farm harvests, sugar harvests, wheat harvest, all this kind of stuff. I know they're not like super high traffic videos that I do, but I think it's news, and I think that it really is important, not only for me to dig into it so that I can continue to give more high level stuff on other videos and tell you what kind of is moving into shortage, what will be in shortage in 6 months, 8 months, what will be in shortage if several more bad things happen along the way. And getting into those numbers, I think, is important. A lot more important than what the Kardashians are up to, or all the sensationalized stuff that just doesn't really impact stuff. So food supply things are definitely of very big interest to me. Shipping impacts, things that are messing up with our shipping system inside the United States and internationally. Things that impact the stock market. A lot of people either have money in the market with regard to retirement funds or brokerage accounts and that kind of stuff, or you work for companies that are publicly listed. If these companies, their stock drops dramatically, they're not going to be able to sell shares to get more revenue so that they can kind of keep the doors open. And this is kind of what happens when stock markets crash, is you get a whole bunch of layoffs. What happens on Wall Street definitely impacts what happens on Main Street, and that's the truth. What's happening there is going to affect the national mood and the international mood. So I think that things that will impact stock markets are very important and relevant and such. I don't think we should get like too in the weeds. We're all not like day trading stocks or something like that. We don't need tactical tips, but to have an idea what's happening with companies and things that are going to dramatically impact companies, I think can be relevant news stories on a case-by-case basis, right? And then things that are going to impact stock, not just stock market, but politics. Things that are going to so when there's a school shooting or something like that, and this looks like it's going to be a big talking point with regard to gun control or any other thing that is going to have be part of the national debate. It's going to be part of all that kind of stuff. That I think that's news. Things that are going to impact politics. Things that are going to change the balance of power in not only in the United States, but in other governments as well. And that's kind of rolls into the next one. What's going to impact global politics? And of course, war is politics by other means. And so I think that war is basically just politics, but with boomsticks and not words anymore. And so I see them just on a continuum, on a spectrum. Things that are happening with conflicts around the world are really underlying political issues that impact not only that nation, but also the nations around them and the whole world at large. And I think that as I've traveled around the world, as I've seen how the world works, things that happen in some of the most unlikely places have a way of impacting places all the way around the world. Things that impact us here in the United States could have started over in Africa somewhere, or could have started over somewhere in Asia. And so I think it's important for us to keep an eye on these things and to kind of be aware of those things. I understand I do a little more international stuff than what a lot of channels do, and part of that is just my own personal interest in it and my understanding, because I've been to a lot of these places, researched a lot about the foreign politics in those regions and stuff like that. And so I understand. And this is not to condemn other channels, other websites about kind of what they curate as news. But I just noticed this trend of just so much gossip and so much scandalous and just gotcha kind of stuff, and it's always kind of irritated me and annoyed me. And this is partially coming from my position as a leader in a church, and it's just like, this is the kind of stuff that, like, if it happened in our church, it would be dealt with, but we wouldn't want to like drag it all out and air everyone's dirty laundry in public. And yet that's kind of what the news media does with a lot of this stuff. And I don't think it's right in a church. A lot of stuff should be kept private. And I think that until that's being brought up in an election or something along those lines for character purposes, I don't think that's really helpful or prudent. And if you're not involved in that election, if it's like a congressman or a state representative or something like that, it's just like, if I'm not from that state, if I'm not from that district, it's not really relevant. We take in, for some of us who just read lots and lots of news, and that's what I do, and that's where a lot of this channel comes from, is that's just toxic stuff that just, why would we take that upon ourselves? We have plenty enough to be concerned about and to watch and all that kind of stuff. We don't necessarily need to just go out there and just shovel as much of the garbage into us as possible and get those dopamine hits and look down upon the other people so we can feel better about ourselves and all this kind of stuff like that. If the news article is, hey, look, a politician acted like a politician again, I don't care. And honestly, if someone from a certain political party acted like someone from that political party again, do you need more evidence? I mean, like, I'm kind of cool where I am. I don't need more. And so these are the kind of articles and stuff like that that I don't want to put in front of you. And so I don't put them in front of you on this channel. And I know a lot of people constantly accuse this channel of doom and gloom and all that kind of stuff like that. But I try to bring you facts. I try to bring you information. And I try to bring you those things that are relevant, at least in some way, to you. And the stuff that's not, if you want to come in here and look on the floor and look at all the stuff on the floor, I'm just kidding, there's not anything literally on the floor, but all the stories get cut and dropped to the floor because I just don't want to talk about them. I don't think that they're worth me thinking about and carrying around, and I don't want to put them in your head or on your back to carry around because why? Why? That's kind of my perspective. That's kind of what the Poplar Report is about. I'm thinking through all this editorial stuff a lot more clearly because I have a lot more capacity to put more stories up on the website. And so before it was more choosing the best ones, choosing the most relevant ones. But now it's kind of like there needs to be kind of like a cut. You know, a hard cut where it's not like I just have a few stories that I can cover, but now it's like I can put up more, but I should be only putting up stuff that's relevant. And so if you guys are excited about that, first off, you're going to want to check out the Poplar Report. I've talked to a couple of people that like me in person that really like the direction this is going. And I really like the stuff I'm putting up on the website. So the articles, it's what I wish a Drudge Report or one of these other sites that aggregates news, it's like what I want. I want to know what I'm clicking on before I click on it, right? And I know we have to be very edgy and clickbaity with this channel on YouTube because that's unfortunately how YouTube works. But if you notice, I always try to give you a clue or an inkling of what the video is actually about in the title somewhere so you can kind of know what we're talking about. And that's a balancing act. Unfortunately, it's got to be clickbaity in order to get people to click. But as you know, I try not to be sensational in the delivery and in the information provided. And I also try to give you some idea because, and you'll notice that I always try to tell you exactly what the video is about in the first 15, 20 seconds of the video. There are channels on YouTube here where you can go 45 seconds, minute into the video and you still don't know what they're going to talk about. And that aggravates me. That really disturbs my calm. It's like, I want to know if I want to watch this video. Come on, out with it. And we need to respect each other. And so you'll see on the Poplar Report, the titles and the subtitles are very descriptive of what the link or the article is about. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that and find it as useful as I think it is. But please do give me some feedback. You can always email your thoughts directly to me at sorry. I have too many addresses and everything I run through my mind. poplarpreparedness@gmail.com. We're still using that for now. but we got some more emails coming up soon that we're going to start transitioning to. But poplarpreparedness@gmail.com. You can email me directly, or you can put it in the video video comments, and we'll try to read those too. Just let us know kind of what you're thinking about the website. Check us out on Twitter, the Poplar Report on Twitter. We should have a blue check mark any hour now. So that will be good. And then also, like I said, on the website. So thanks so much for being a part of this community. And if you're still watching this video, you've already belabored through a lot of this stuff. Hopefully a lot of this is resonating. I can't pronounce that word right now. Sorry. Hopefully you're on board with this. You're like, yeah, we want that too. If you know of resources out there that are great, please don't hesitate to share those with us. We want to learn from where we can learn, and make something great together. So thanks so much for supporting this channel, being a part of this channel. There's some cool things we're going to be rolling out in the coming days and coming weeks as fast as we can. And of course, the videos will still be coming at you. Thanks so much for being with us. There's another video right up here from this channel. Might want to check that out. Otherwise, I will see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.